So I've begun a walkthrough series of genuinely one of my top 5 favourite games. Late last night I was browsing the sales and this was on there for 20 quid, and I was tired and it seemed like a good idea, and it will always be a good idea because this is just the game of my childhood, Final Fantasy X. I'm going to go for the standard Sphere because I cannot remember how different the expert one was, and that doesn't seem like a good idea. And the arranged soundtrack, to me, probably sounds a bit better. I think they redid it properly. And I'm probably not going to talk over these cutscenes. So yeah.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
So, Final Fantasy X, and this is part 1, and that piece of music is again one of my favourites. That is to Zanarkand, and it's definitely worth checking out the orchestrated version. And it's weird just seeing this. Like, I can remember all of it now that I've seen it again. It's all incredibly familiar. The only thing that seemed slightly different was this somewhat cheesy music. I don't remember too much of that. I remember all like the epic bits, and then the really cool bit later in the Blitzball game. It's just a tune. There he is, very curiously dressed. Short shorts, open chest, nice necklace going on. Although from looks like everybody's wearing short shorts, so it's potentially not a problem. So yeah, this while I'm getting back into grips with it, it's me just like, wait, what do I do?
No problem.
You talk to the kids. There's no point calling him anything different because his name barely shows up. But he's one of the few you can rename because no one actually says his name. All the other characters, it's in the dialogue. So it is impossible to name them after anybody else.
Can I have your autograph?
Can I have your autograph?
Good luck tonight.
Nothing
Thank you.
to worry about.
That looks suspiciously like a Batman dress.
Oh, if I score a goal,
I'll just stand here and look awkward and make something up.
this. That will
No
be
part of what
great.
he just did there was in any way attractive or seductive.
What seat?
He's blocking the
Even with the symbolism of both of them holding two big balls.
Got it.
See, you have to take one step forwards and then trigger this cutscene also.
2, 3.
Teach us how to blitz. Seriously, kids?
I
Like,
got a game to play.
shut up.
Then teach us after.
Maybe tonight?
I'm not sure if like little ginger kid is meant to like
Tonight.
hint towards Waka at all.
Tomorrow.
I'm probably just making that up, but
Promise.
his hair is somewhat similar. Weird little sign thing. Later he says like that's the Blitzball sign for victory, but that just seems elaborate and weird. I get that it's like when you get to Besaid later it's part of the story and stuff, but it's very strange.
I was in a coffee shop running away from home when I heard the news. Our hero, Jacked, gone, vanished into thin air. My dad must have been his biggest fan. I knew how sad he'd be. Heck, we all were that day. Zanar, I says to myself, what are you thinking? I went running straight back home. We sat up talking about Jacked all night.
So that's me trying not to talk over the cutscenes, and I think I talked over some of it, but
Coming through, sorry.
probably because I don't have too much to say. Like, what can you say about
I'm gonna be
this game
late.
that has not already been said? This is what, like,
Hey, let go of me.
13 years old or something? 10 years old? I don't know. That's why I went for the 20th anniversary Share Factory theme, because it seemed somewhat appropriate, and it opens with, like, the first PlayStation, which this one was not on, so perhaps not appropriate. But that's all it has, it doesn't have the other ones. But get ready for awesome music. Very awesome. Any second now. And we have returned. The cutscenes in this, like watching back on this, they're incredibly long. There's one I think in another video I'm going to do, because I've already like cut together 3. That it's like 8 minutes of stuff, which I like, but for the purposes of this is very long. And Oren perhaps not there, but in the cutscene just gone, he looks a lot like Kevin Costner. So this is perhaps just an elaborate remake of Waterworld, but interactive. And it's weird playing this because I can remember immediately what happens ahead. Even this bit, like, it's just all... I can remember playing it 10 years ago. I can't remember basically anything I did 10 years ago. Except video games for a lot of it.
Don't cry.
An odd scene, but I think it's meant to represent, like, things distorting when sin is near. And as this walkthrough goes, it'll be me trying to remember what happened story-wise, and then later on going, oh, I got it all wrong, this happens. Kevin Costner. And give Titus a slightly different haircut, possibly Justin Bieber. We called it Waterworld 2, but for copyright reasons we couldn't.
My old man?
I hope you know how to use it.
So we go from barely even being able to lift a sword with 2 hands, suddenly we can lift it with 1, now we've got a cool little animation down, our fighting stance, and now we're just about to mash some people up with it, when 10 seconds ago couldn't even hold it. I think when I first did this, a decade ago, I was just trying to kill everything, but you, like he says, you don't need to. I don't think it affects your leveling up at this point. I think you just fight and then keep going. And the thing I did like about the battle system in this is you can see whose turns it is next and kind of plan ahead a bit more. But when you get a bit later and you've got more abilities, you can... some will take longer and it will reshuffle the order so you can, again, plan ahead even further. I like this a lot. Whereas before it was kind of random. Time for one of those in-battle tutorials with Kevin. Overdrive, press the button, do the buttons, basically. And on my first run through of this, I'm probably going to stop saying decades ago because it's kind of boring. But I used to mess these up all the time, but there, nail on the head. People got mashed up, as they say. Or as I say. No one really says that. Demi seems a weird attack, because the more you use it, the less damage it does. Fourth time I got that right. But as his go on and you get more overdrives for him, I used to suck at them so much. And at this, I can't remember what this pause bit was. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I don't think I might have been on the phone. I'm gonna leave that in there because it's a true reflection of nothing. I have no idea. And this thing, so it's attacking me. What is it? I have no idea what that actually does. So sin spawn something. And I'm pretty sure that you don't actually need to use the potions in this like I was doing. You can just get straight through this fight, just solidly attacking it. Although he does demi me rather close to my health limit. Maybe his sword wouldn't be so heavy if he used two hands. I think part of the HD remaster is I think they've changed the menus. Like the health bars look the same to me, but the menu where everything is looks a little bit different. Although I could be entirely wrong, but something seems different to me. Now he's gone all floppy. For part one of a walkthrough, there's not really, you don't really need to be shown anything like this. So far it's either played you cutscenes or held your hand. But this is not as linear as 11, was it 11? No, 13, sorry, 11 was online. 13 was just start at one end of the line, run to the other end of the line. What you can't see was me doing a hand gesture there. And again there when I'm talking, you can't see what I'm doing. What am I doing? And all the save bits I've cut out, when I go to a save thing it just goes briefly black. Because it just stops recording the screen. Like for no reason. There's no data protection for me saying, save my game, yes. There's no reason you can't see that. So in this fight again, I was trying to kill all those that said wings start to flicker, because I remember they did a strong attack and I just didn't want to die.
Knock it down.
So Auron attacks that for me,
Trust me, you'll see.
and Tidus just kills the ones that light up, because Auron does more damage. Although I hadn't worked that out by this point. I sort of again, that was a hand gesture of me changing things, but eventually I'll change it. So here I'd worked out my game plan. You see they had a lot of attacks in a row, although their accuracy seems incredibly low. Only a couple more. This seems a weird mechanic for this bit, considering I don't think you get the XP off it. I don't know if it's just to get you used to fighting. But it should only be one more, I believe. Yeah, there you go. It probably would have been quicker just to like kill all the things and go through. Or one going for the dramatic mood there.
Go.
Had they like gone instantly, it would have been so much quicker. Because look how low down that's gone now, and now it's exploding. They should have just gone. Epic jump time!
You are sure? This is it. This is your story. It all begins here. Hey!
So,
Hey!
after this white screen that's been on for too long, we find ourselves
Old man?
with a giant floating J suspended somehow. A lot of this intro, where it's just setting everything up, there's just endless cutscenes and you're just walking between cutscenes to trigger another one. Or floating between them as it happens.
I thought about a lot of things. Like where I was, what I got myself into. I started to feel lightheaded, and then sleepy. I think I had a dream of being alone. I wanted someone, anyone beside me, so I didn't have to feel alone anymore.
Perhaps a slight tribute to
Anybody there?
Titanic there. Although Rose has been replaced by a bird.
Hey!
While this video does end in about 2 minutes, I somehow, in my infinite genius, forgot to press save after I'd killed the boss in this area. So when this ends, we'll just be skipping past that. In light of that, if you've never played this game, when you fight the boss, like, you can't kill it. It just chases you off into another cutscene and you escape. So there's no point like wasting potions on it or anything. And before we go straight up, we will go slightly off to the right to find that thing which is written in Albed, which you can't read. Apart from Macalania.
What do we have here?
And then when we eventually get off to the left, after some more swimming, and after that chest, which there's 200 gil that buys you like one potion, it's kind of worthless. And after the left, you don't find a primer, but if you were to finish the story and then start the story again, the thing up on this platform, if you found all the primers or some of the primers in your previous game, this will load them into this game so you can then read the Albed bits at the start. Yeah. So it'll just take stuff you've previously found in other games and put it into this one. And I found none, so it did nothing. And then to end this section, you just swim up to the big red arrow thing up there. So yeah, I forgot to save. I saved here and then forgot to save after the boss, so this is about it for this walkthrough. Until next time.